Everyone has a seat, everyone's good? Let me turn off this music. Thank you. All right, so thank you guys for coming today. Really appreciate you guys' support. Bill, you want to start off with something?
Yeah, so we started off the new year, right? And so last year we started doing these master classes and getting everybody in the door and just kind of doing trainings. And I've been hearing feedback on trainings that we've been doing, and we're trying to keep it relevant and what's going to help you today, not just randomly chat GPTing what trainings to do, and just keeping them boring. And the goal is you want to be here, right? Is the goal. So for us, we started at the end of the year, we've been hitting on topics, and we kind of tailored off. The new year started, and we found a couple topics that we wanted to touch on, and basically update some of our training videos and some of our, so we did a couple Zooms and the leveraging the admin one, the database management, a couple other ones that we did, media day stuff, the hot questions that we were getting right off the bat are all right, let's jump on these real fast. So we're gonna keep it hybrid. I think that's one of the things I always ask, people ask me, they're like, man, do you guys have offices? Do you guys are working out of there every day? Do you guys do Zoom? What do you, I was like, hybrid, we're flexible because we're all over the place, right? We got different cities that we're located in. And so, but I mean, for today, the master class, I think is the most important one that, especially with all these NAR headlines, all of these different things, there was a new headline today that I reposted, and I was like, I'm looking at this shit, stupid. It's pay attention to what we say, right? So you guys have to understand all of these headlines that are out there. It's like headlines when you walk through a magazine, or back in the days. Now, we got Facebook and social media, it's faster to see people doing crazy things in the world. But back in the days, you go to the grocery store and you see the magazines. Mm-hmm. I see the weird random headlines. And, you see stuff like that, and you're like, oh, shit, look what that person's doing. Oh, look, they got caught cheating, or whatever it was. So that's the way you guys want to kind of look at that, where that's what the media does with our real estate industry in our world. These headlines pop up, you guys don't even hear about the NAR. That first week was crazy. It was crazy out there. Everybody was because it was popular, and people were grabbing it as an attention. People were using it for recruiting. There were people who were using it trying to scare people, to get business and buyers and to make moves. And it's that's where you guys have to be the voice of this. There's people watching you, there's people learning from you. That's where, if you're not being the voice out there, if you're not sharing anything with your clients, your friends, family, and all that other stuff, they're seeing those headlines. And what are those headlines doing? They're scaring them. So we're going to touch base a little bit on that, but more so than anything, dude, I've been traveling. You guys have been seeing. I just went to Nashville. I did 2 back-to-back conferences. I always told myself I'll never do back-to-back conferences and I'll do it again. I don't know if you guys have sat in a room for 9 hours straight for multiple days. It's a lot. And then we did it again yesterday. So, but I'm learning from the best. The rooms I've been in are number ones in the world from different companies. And it's just I'm making sure that we're in the best position. And the only way I can make sure that we're in the best position is if I go learn from the best and see what they're doing. And then collaboratively, in the area, what are we doing? And how do we want? So we're going to change it up a little bit on how we do the masterclass a little bit today. But I think the biggest takeaway from learning from all these different people, and there's team leaders out there that I was listening to, and I was like, dude, you guys are tripping. Big people, and number one in Minnesota, number one teams in different states, and just people are thinking in the assumption world. And they hit on that yesterday. We had Renee
Rodriguez.
Renee Rodriguez. This dude speaks in front of 12,000 people, 6,000 people daily. Being paid $35,000, $70,000 every speech. We had him for a full day yesterday. And it was really awesome just to hear how he speaks and leadership and all that. But what I'm trying to say is, listening to these people, you can't assume what's happening. We just heard from the main guy that runs EXP, and we have lawyers on retainers that are working this case, and we know exactly what's happening. And he was dude, in a couple of weeks we're gonna know. Couple weeks, in a couple weeks we'll find out exactly what the difference and the change is going to be. I think what he said yesterday, and this is what he was like, hey, don't record us. But like, what he was talking about was the commission that, on the MLS, you guys can see how much you guys are getting paid for each home that you guys are showing and representing a buyer for. I just had a call from another agent yesterday. They're like, do I need to do any changes today? I was like, no, nothing's changing. Like, just keep work as you are. But the difference is the commission thing on the MLS is changing, and it's going into, instead of commission, it's going to be concessions. So it's really weird, very stupid. It's just words. It's going to be the same thing. So like, instead of sellers offering commissions to a buyer's agent, it's going to say concessions. And that's the change that's happening. So with that change, and because of that new wording and the terms, no matter what, July 1st, it's hitting. So like, that change is happening on the MLS, and that's where we need to get our buyers. So we're working on that right now, where we're going to work on that together, beefing up our buyer consultation, but we're going to have to get agreement signed. So a lot of you guys have been in my trainings, the last couple of talks that we've had. I think it's really, for the way you guys get a listing, the way you guys prepare for a listing. Like, imagine you guys had $1 million listing appointment today. Like, how are you guys getting prepared? How are you guys getting trained? I remember going to listing appointments and be listening to a recording, because I would record my phone when I go shadow my old broker. I would go shadow him, and I would just have my phone on a recording, and then now I had my own appointments, and I would be listening to that on my way to the appointments. I would be listening to that while looking up comps, like preparing, like professionally, like just training to make sure I land it, because how many opportunities do you get with that $1 million plus list? Nowadays, everything's $1 million, but 8 years ago, 7 years ago, like, there was only, I was selling $300,000 homes, and it was amazing. Now, we get $600,000, $700,000 leads. We're like, what the fuck is that? That was a dream back in the day. But like, what I'm saying is, like, the way you prepare, the way you guys come to that presentation for a listing, think of that, be in that mind space. That's what we have to do with buyers now. That's the change. We've already been doing that. So hopefully it's not that big of a transition for you guys, because that's the way we work and the way we operate, is like, you have to get a consultation in. And there was a lot of shortcuts being taken, and we've been talking about that on some of our trainings, where people were just being door openers and just hoping and praying that person would want to work with you. And that's not the game, you guys. Like, that's transactional. We're not transactional here. We're career agents. Like, we're here to like make money forever and build that client and give you 10 clients in the future. Like, yeah, we go to Zillow and make X amount of dollars on that one, but that's not the game. The game is to give that person the best service in the world, because now they're going to give you all their friends and family, and then a couple of years later, they're going to upgrade, and then you got to sell and buy. And like, you should be looking at one lead, one opportunity, and looking at like $100,000 lifetime. So that's the difference. It's instead of a buyer listing presentation, a listing agreement, now it's going to be a buyer consultation and a buyer agreement. Same thing. So the changes that they were talking about yesterday were, we want to make sure that we're going to have what we charge in our buyer agreement. So we're going to say, we're going to charge 3% commission. But obviously, you can't go to a listing appointment and say, hey, I'm going to charge you 3%, commission. Like, they're going to be like, what do you mean? What are you going to do? Like, how? So it's the same way that you got to present, the same way you got to add value, to where it's a no-brainer that they won't even ask me how much you charge. Like, a lot of you guys have gone on listing appointments with me, and like, they never even asked about commissions. I have to bring it up. One thing that I heard about Dan say yesterday, which
that was good, yeah.
And like, I do the same thing, where it's like, if somebody says, doesn't even ask about commission or anything like that.
They say, when do we start? The price just went up because they didn't ask for the permission. If you're walking in there saying, I'm going to charge a 5%, you're already thinking in your head, but you're doing your whole entire presentation, and they're like, when do we start, right? They're like, oh, yeah, we'll start tomorrow. Let me just let you know it's 6% because this is all we do. We showed so much value that we are worth that 6%, right?
They don't even care.
They don't budge.
But the big difference of what we saw was, if you tell a buyer and you have a buyer agreement that says 2.5, oh, I only charge 2.5, or I only charge 2%. What if you show them a home and the seller has a concession of
3%
or 3.5%, whatever it is to sell that home, whatever's on that buyer agreement, you can't get more than that, even if they're offering that.
You
So
forfeit the other part.
So that's why it's really important. So we're gonna put 3% on all of our agreements. You know, like I've done this. I did this with Craig Proctor's system, and so like I know how to like negotiate. I know how to train on it. So like we're gonna just really work on that stuff. But I think today, like what we're gonna work on is the value, building up to ask and get that closing. But like that's the change. So ta-da! You know, like the NAR settlement, like that's it, right? So like we're gonna prepare, we're gonna get ready, but that's the biggest difference. But it's something that maybe, you know, I'm not gonna say anything about anybody, like maybe slid down of like offering that so much because we're so busy and we're like, let me just get them on the phone, let me just talk to them, let me just go show them the house real fast, right? It's like, no, like the process, can't skip the process. Like everybody's an opportunity, and that's where that's gonna be the game now, because everybody's gonna be doing that. Now, you know, because like now, like what it's been is people, a lot of agents out there taking shortcuts. So the moment that we offer buyer consultations and have a meeting with them and bring a lender in, you guys are blowing out the people that were just door openers. So all the leads that you guys are talking to, the opportunities that you're coming in, and they're like, oh, I have an agent. Like the person that says, oh, I have an agent, and it was easy to get them converted to work with us because of what we offer, there's gonna be a lot more of us out there. So the competition is right, and that's why you guys are gonna have to like really step the game up on these buyers. And it's just, like I said, it's just listing agreement versus buyer agreement. It's the same thing. Or listing agreement versus buyer agreement. It's the same thing. So, yeah, I think that's where we're at. Anything on the NAR that you've been kind of hearing and that you want to touch on?
No, I think everyone's just kind of like the unknown, what's really going to happen. But honestly, the buyer brokers agreement, it's being signed by many states already. We met two ladies yesterday from Texas, EXP. They do it all day. It's, hey, here's my buyer presentation, value, 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 value. This is what we're doing, and this is what it is. They get it signed. Theirs is 5 pages. Not a problem. And they're top agents. We met some other ladies from Detroit. Their average is $80,000 sale out there. And they do it all day. So it's value, 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 value. This is what we charge. Get it signed. She said that we in California were super spoiled because we didn't have to do that. She goes, we in Detroit, we have to fight for our money. We need to make sure that if I'm spending time with you, you're going to be working with me, because I'm not going to go show you guys all these houses, because our average is $80,000. So it's just getting used to it. Some people, the unknown really scares them, but it's not much of an unknown. Everyone's doing it. Canada does it all day as well. So it's now getting transitioned here. So nothing different.
And the thing is, like, you guys are here. You guys showed up. It's the agents that are not showing up and not learning about this and learning how to get ahead of the game and then waiting until July, and then it happens. And it's like, what I'm seeing right now is like, we got to start these agreements sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Because we're like, it's weird when you're like working a buyer, you're like, oh, actually, hey, we're doing agreements now. It's like, start it now. Like that, so that's what we're working on. So I would say like within the next week or so, we're gonna have, I'm waiting to see what everybody else is putting together as far as agreements and like with the wordings and all that. But like the moment that word is out, like it's gonna be ready. I think it's more so of you guys getting good at the value side of it to be able to close that.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's the, you know, the game. Any questions? Yeah, any questions on the NAR stuff?
Are we, with our current leads that we're working with that may be, you know, later on this summer that are gonna be ready to purchase, what are we doing with those buyers? Are we also gonna be doing something with those where we're getting them
So you're not gonna be able to get paid without having an agreement.
So start having those conversations.
And it's still kind of an assumption, because it's still like not black and white and it's not written out, but that's what the comment, what I've been hearing from big people out there.
So just line it up already.
Yeah.
Start lining it up. It's just once we have the actual document that we're gonna need, like we're not gonna have a scary 10-page contract. We're gonna create our own. We're gonna build out our own like agreement that looks very easy and non-threatening. Probably like a one-pager.
It's gonna be a Davis too.
Yeah, because they have the buyer agreements out there and like they're like 6 pages. Like they're scary. So we're gonna create our own.
So, I don't know if this is out yet or not, but like with the agreement, you know, how does that work? Like it could be, as in, how do they factor that into their preparation?
So the way that it was talked about yesterday was basically when you're doing your buyer presentation, right? You're showing value, 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 and then you're showing this, okay, this is what I charge, right? This is my value. So let's just say we do the 3%, and then we say, hey, we're gonna negotiate X amount, or we're gonna try to negotiate the entire thing. But if we can't negotiate the entire amount, just know that there will be some that you will have to come out of pocket, right? It's gonna be part of like the closing costs. They're gonna have to roll that in there. I don't know how, I know lenders are working on something right now. I don't know exactly what they are. Yeah, but it's I personally feel it's no different than, hey, we're asking for closing cost already today. We're negotiating, you know, $20,000, $15,000. The loan, everything gets rolled over in the loan. I feel like they're probably going to come out something like that, but I haven't heard anything yet. But as of yesterday, the conversations that we were having was basically, this is my value. We're going to try to negotiate, you know, to get some concessions.
The seller's paying and we don't have to pay, or if we're able to get credits and then like.
Something like that, yeah.
There's options. So when you're in front of somebody and you're trying to get them to sign something saying, hey, you're gonna owe me this amount of money if they don't pay. The way that, you know, you're explaining it to somebody, and we heard it from he's like number 3 in EXP's Hawaii. But like what he was saying was he's like, look, like here's the 3 options.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 3. The worst case scenario, which is very, very rare when somebody doesn't want to pay, there is gonna be a shortage. And if we get to that road, we'll get to that road when we get there. But I just want you guys to be aware of it. But these are the other options of what really happens, and like nobody works for free. We're already up against, so the thing that popped in my head right away was discount brokers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there's gonna be buyer's agents out there that are gonna be like, hey, I'll help you for only $500. But for listings, we're already up against so many discount brokers out there. Like Redfin offers 1%. Like there's a lot of it. Like who cares? Like let them go with aunt and uncles that are gonna do it for free. Like get that service. This is what we offer. Are you sure that you want to go with somebody that's not gonna give you all of this? And that's really.
Or there's some people that are going to try to do it themselves, and then they're going to see what we really go through, right? And they're going to be like, oh man, this is too much. You do it. You handle it, right? So I wouldn't discard those people. Just, it's a follow-up. Now we're going to be having follow-ups for different things, but I wouldn't discard it. We talked about that yesterday also. So.
That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, I've been going to classes and trainings and Zooms and just like, I'm helping and making sure that we're doing what we need to do to get ahead of this as fast as possible. But I'm also not freaking out. Yeah. I'm also not scared. I'm also not, like, you guys, like, if your clients feel that, they're gonna feel that. So like, that's where you guys want to, like, just like, dude, we got this. Don't worry, I'm on the team. Like, man, we got, don't worry about it now. Like, but when it comes, like, even if you buy now or after July, like, nothing's changing for you. Don't worry about that. Like, we got you guys. And so, any other questions? NAR changes.
There's secretly a lot.
I mean, but that's what you asked me. Like, asking me, Daisy.
Can we have questions after?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I kind of want to hit on the NAR thing real fast. That's what I want to start with. Let's get into the buyer consultation, the value side of it, and let's roll. So.
All right, guys. So thank you guys for coming. One thing that I wanted to talk about, let's see. So we're gonna talk about the buyer's consultation. I've seen a couple of buyer consultations. You guys personalize them. I love it. But now this buyer consultation has to be like super solid. What I'm talking about is showing value, 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 value. We really do mean value, 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 value. But not just the value. We also learned yesterday, you gotta share a story, right? There's some questions, and I wanted to start off with this, where sometimes we pass by someone, or even here, everyone's walking in, hey, how are you? But then you didn't really respond, oh, I'm doing good, or I'm not doing good, right? I saw Mario coming in limping a little, and I literally approached him, I'm like, what's wrong? What's going on? Were you playing soccer? What were you doing? Right? So I really wanted to know, intentionally know. I wanted to know his story. But sometimes I'll pass by, hey, Daniel, how are you? And I'm just like, walking or he's walking, that's not telling us a story, right? So we're asking certain questions without really wanting to know. So let's switch that up for our buyer's consultation. We really want to know what the story is and have them know what our story is, because the way that we help buyers, they should know what we do. Our regular buyer consultation, I'm gonna show you guys that now. So basically what I wanna do here today is let's take a look at the stuff that we already have. Let's take a look at what the Davis team has, so you guys can actually take it, make it your own. And like I said, some of you guys already have your own. But at the end, I want to mastermind with all of you guys, because we need to show up what our value is. We're gonna do maybe one value that Colleen has, maybe Isha didn't think about it, be like, oh wow, we really do have that. Maybe we didn't think about that as a value, but we're gonna talk about all of that. So that's me. So my story, I really thought about that last night. Yes, people know I'm sales manager. Yes, people know I like to sell. But what is really my story, right? So I'm gonna share 2 things with you guys today about my story. Maybe you guys do know, maybe you guys don't know. I am 1 out of 7 daughters, only females, right? I'm the youngest out of all 7. So the age gap between me and my oldest sister, we're talking about 20 years. Wow. Okay? Her son is older than me. By 6 months only. We went to school together. It was really funny, yeah. And also, I have a niece that's 6 weeks older than me. So I went to school with, all 3 of us, we were a trio. So that was kind of crazy, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. So I wanted to share that with you guys. So family is hardcore for me. I mean, I'm very family oriented. That's just the way that I grew up. And it's probably, I would say, in my genes. I am Hispanic. I speak Spanish. So definitely want to start sharing some things about me that maybe, like I said, you guys don't know. But I want to start sharing my story. That way you guys can get encouraged to start sharing your guys' story, right? So 2 things. I have nieces and nephews older than me, and I'm the youngest out of 7. So what is a buyer's consultation, right? So I got this yesterday because I was revamping last night after that class. I mean, it was really good. So basically, whether the buyers are just starting to think about buying or they're actively searching for a home, they need to sit down with you guys. We are the professionals, right? So even if like, hey, I think I'm sick, I think I'm not sick, we need to sit down with a doctor, right? To kind of figure out we are sick or we're not sick, or if we're sick, what is the long term? Or if we're not sick, okay, just get out of your head, keep moving, right? We need to figure out what that is, right? Buyer's consultation should provide the knowledge they need to take the next steps. It should be very detailed, and not just detailed, but how are you gonna help them to take that next step, right? And then after meeting obviously with the realtor, they'll have a better understanding of the home purchase process and actions they need to take, whichever it needs to do. There you go. So we are the professionals, okay? I told you guys I was working last night. So we are the professionals, right? When we do this buyer consultation, we really need to find out their why, right? Because if we don't know why they want to buy a house, it's going to be very impossible to actually help them purchase that house, you know? And again, we need to show them the value. It's not just me. Like all of you guys that showed up today, right? All of you guys have, I feel like you guys all have my back at the same way that I have all of your guys' back. A text, a call, or anything, I'm always there to reply. If it's not at the minute, but I will reply. I will call back. So what we'll cover again, the value and what does it look like. And today, that's going to change the future of the buyer consultation just because we're going to be masterminding, right? This is just kind of like what we had. So during the buyer's consultation, you want to make sure, I was actually going to do a full role play with Mario because I don't know if you guys have been on the role plays, but he gives some of the best like role plays as a buyer. He gives some of those Man, tough questions. So that was going to be my plan today, but again, I switched it up. So I would be asking Mario, does he have a family? I know that you want to buy a house. Very nonchalant, very conversational, right? So it's like, who are they? Who is Mario? I know Mario that has a family, has 3 kids, right? Lives in Vallejo, wife works. We all see him with his son, right? I'm not trying to pick on you, but you were going to be my... So our school's important, right? Why does he want to move? Does he need more space? Does he need a backyard? His wife works, he works, so is a commute an issue? So we want to know more. What is their story? That's what we want to find out. The same way that we have our story to help them, we want to find out what is their story. What type of home are they looking for? Do they have kids, pets, planning to have family? Maybe they don't have kids. Maybe they just graduated. Maybe they just got engaged. Do they want more space, less space, downgrading? They want to move closer to work, with transportation, whatever it is. We want to find that out, right? So again, going back to what is your story and how are you going to help them to make sure that they get that house that they want? Who's your audience? You really need to find out. We're going to have, at least yesterday, I kind of pinned it down to 4 audiences, right? Our first-time home buyer, that's going to be one. That's going to be a lot of ours, right? The buyer that has gone through the process, right? Hey, I already bought this home. I need a second home, or I want to sell this home. So that's going to be a buy and sell. That savvy buyer that's like, I already have this information. I just need you to help me. Or the investor. All the buyer consultations, I personally feel you might have to adjust them based on who is your audience, right? So the first-time buyer, you may spend a lot more time with them, right? And if it's a savvy buyer, you might just tell them, okay, they're going to tell you, this is what I want, this is this, and you're like, whoa, right? You might not spend so much time with them. So understand who your audience, because you're not going to spend as much time with the investor as a first-time buyer. That's for sure. So don't treat them like a first-time buyer, because they know what they want. So obviously your initial consultation, understand the objections, priorities, time frames. Ask for the locations, right? Discuss, the lending qualifications, define how we will work together. Let them know. And if you're going to tell them, hey, I'm going to email you this, you better email that to them. That's another part of your value. Communication, the keys, you want to make sure you're on top of all that. Financing, right? Sometimes we do our buyer consultations with our lender, and we need to make sure that they're pre-approval. What does that mean for them? Determine the budget and the price, because we can't really go look for a home if we don't know their budget. That's how important the lenders are for us, but that's definitely part of it, right? Prepare proof of funds if purchasing with cash. So I work with a lot of cash buyers. Hey guys, keep me updated with your statements, because if we're going to submit this offer, I need to make sure I have that cash proof of funds immediately. And then programs for down payments. So the programs for the down payments, basically, are we going to use, today is a big day, right? That new program started. So are we going to use that or are we not? The way that we write the offer may be a little bit different, right? The way that we negotiate may be a little bit different. It just really depends. So make sure the lender's there with you. So then the home shopping starts, right? Home shopping starts, set up online home search. But honestly, with a lot of these buyers, they're looking at Zillow, they're looking at Realtor. And also another part of our value, I don't know if all of you guys know this, but do you guys know of EXP exclusives? Have you guys downloaded the app? EXP exclusives? So no, don't call it Zenlist no more. That's what we learned yesterday. But yes, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. So that shares, basically another value that we shared yesterday was if all of the agents of EXP works on getting your listings, right? And you make sure you add them on there, how much more value and powerful we will be, because we have something better than Zillow. We have something better than Redfin, because this information is not being shared with no one else, but just EXP agents and the people that you decide to share it with. So you got to stay on top of what your actual brokerage offers, what we offer, because we offer a shitload of stuff. So make sure you take advantage.
We're gonna create a system and have admin do this for us. So basically, we're just gonna let them know, hey, I got this listing coming on, and they're gonna upload it for everybody, right? And make it easy. But this, like what Dave's saying, this is the biggest thing that everybody's talking about, that we're gonna be able to separate ourselves from any other companies out there. Like, we are the biggest company. We have 90,000 agents. Imagine having 90,000 agents putting in their off-market. Like, when we were at Compass, this was big. Everybody loved Compass because we had a lot of off-markets. We're doing, what was it, I think 2.5 times more home sales than Compass. We're selling 5 times more homes than Real. Like, we have way more sales. So, like, imagine, like, letting a buyer know, hey, look at all these exclusives that you don't get anywhere else. So, like, we're gonna create a system for this.
So that's another value that we're going to be adding, well, that we have, but you want to make sure that you share with them, right? So obviously, make an offer, your why. So when it comes to homes, you know, you got to explain to them, this home is at this value, this price, and does it fit their why, and why we're going to submit an offer, why we're going to go ahead and complete this purchase, right? But obviously, as a professional, we're going to review the comparables. We're going to discuss appropriate offer strategies. There's a ton of strategies out there. And not just that, but the value of having this team specifically, we work on all the strategies. Hey, maybe you should do it this way. Hey, maybe this way looks better. What do you think about this? Do you know this person? What do you think? So reach out to all of us, right? It's not just submitting an offer. You're not the only one. It doesn't matter who it is. Reach out to us. Obviously, detailed package, right? So when we send an offer, I like to send my offers through Hino. I don't know if any of you guys do that. Okay. I've won offers because they're so nice and clean, and it's like, wow. And then they're like, can you send me that information? Where can I get that? I've never even met the agent. Obviously, I had a conversation. Send it over through Hino. Normally, I use it just for presentations. Once that happened, all my offers were going through Hino, unless, obviously, if I need to send it to Disclosure IO. But again, because it shares your story. It tells your story, right? And obviously, we got some hell of negotiators here. We can definitely all help with that. And then we talk about the escrow, the setups, obviously, identify a company. This is obviously what you're going to be talking to your buyers with. Some people are going to have a little bit more conversations. Again, I'm just going through this a lot faster than what you would normally do, just because I want to get to that mastermind piece. But, you know, you're going to give them the purchase contract, the initial deposit to the escrow. A lot of people don't know what an EMD is, right? Have that conversation with them. Let them know, as long as you have that contingency, that money's going to get returned. If you do a non-contingent offer, that's going to go if you don't want that house. So make sure you want this house, but have that conversation with them. Submit home info to the lender, right? As soon as you get that offer accepted, lender, you guys should have some type of template with like an email where it's going to the lender, escrow officer, and your transaction coordinator. And you're going to send in the contract information, proof of funds, and anything else that needs to get taken care of. Contingency stuff. Inspections and property conditions, right? Basically, always offer all the inspections. Make sure you offer all of them and go through them with the buyer consultation. Let them know, like, look, maybe we can't catch this with the eye, but we're going to have professionals to take a look at it. And I always offer its roof, chimney if they has one, sewer lateral, general home inspection, and a pest report. So those 5, it's just, hey, these are the people that I use. They're really good. Take a look at them. But if you want to use someone else, make sure you review them and let me know who you want so we can start with the inspections, right? And then obviously if there's any critical issues, then we're going to start negotiations. Let them know it's not, hey, we found an issue. Well, you're stuck with it, and that's not it. So closing process, they don't want us to close, but Oh, it was going back. Oh. Come back. Okay, it's not going back.
Or like the arrow.
I'm hitting the arrow. There it goes. So closing process, right? Signing the loan documents, notary goes out, walk them through the scenario. Hey, this is what happens, right? So we're reviewing all the closing costs, transactions. You're going to be signing the loan documents. You're going to provide a cashier. Some people still like cashier's checks. That's like, but there is a lot of wire fraud. Go down with all their options are so they know that they have options. And if something happens, hey, it wasn't just your fault. And then obviously lender sends out balance sheets to funding for the title company. And basically we closed, right? Once we're in record, we definitely closed. Final walkthrough, right? Confirm the property condition and any repairs if they needed to be. Property condition should be the same. So I don't know if a lot of you guys do a final walkthrough, right? Final walkthrough is at the end, almost at the end, maybe 1 day or two, but it should be in the same condition as you guys saw it when you guys made the offer. If it's in better condition, great. If it's in worse condition, you guys have problems. Well, we have problems, and we need to make sure it comes back to the same condition. A lot of people just kind of miss out on that. You don't have to do that. That's a valuable step that I always do with my clients because we want to make sure if something comes up, shit, I wasn't there, I didn't know, but hey, I don't miss this one. Record and close, right? Obviously when the deed is recorded, not just because it funded means that you close. Things still can happen, right? So make sure we get the confirmation from the recording. Now we can go ahead and celebrate. And we close and we celebrate. So we at the Davis team, I don't know if you guys know this, but we have a guarantee, right? So if they buy a home with us and they're not 100% satisfied, which is a legitimate reason, within the 18 months, we'll go ahead and sell it, but they have to make sure that they purchase the next property with us, right? So I haven't had anyone that's actually...
We've had like 2, I would say, over the last 5 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know that there were some, but I haven't had any personally myself.
So what would you do to sell them by at the same time?
So like sometimes they even like, so sometimes they'll go rent. Maybe something happened in life and they need to go rent. Like the thing is, like we don't charge on our side, but they have to charge, pay
They still
out,
have to pay out
the
though.
new concessions, right? So the cost, we're not covering the cost of the sale. We're not going to charge for our commission. We have the terms and all that we put into this, but it's more so of like, even if you do it for free, like you guys now have a listing. Now you can like advertise and get leads. And so it's a win for everybody. And you're helping somebody like sell it free, like you just make money off it, right? So.
Don't be greedy, guys. All right, so here are some of the samples that we have, and here's some of the links, right? So this one would be the high note one. Just so you guys can see it. You guys can take this one and literally make it your own as well. This is really nice and clean, links. Again, show your value. Use our Zillow information. We have a ton there. The buyer consultation there.
Is there a template on the high note right now?
It's a template. Yeah, it's not new. It's been there. If you guys have your own testimonials, you guys can use it there as well. So use it. This is just the regular one, kind of like what we were talking about. But you got to make sure you make it like, this is very simple. Show you the value. Any questions on those? Nope.
So that template is on Bill's high note.
Yeah.
So the high note is, you guys all, so what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna get somebody to help us basically create one for everybody, right? Really what it is you could go under my account, it's $14 a month, you get your own account. But you guys can create separate folders inside of each account. So like you go under mine, like you can see like 10 of agents that are under mine, And they have separate folders. You could save different presentations. You could copy the saved ones that I have, and then now it's yours. Now you put in your TikTok login info, your Instagram, your reviews, your pictures, right? Like build it to your, like this goes out to every buyer that we're about to meet with, right? Like every time you get off the phone, like we already know, like it's not just this consultation, we've got pre-sale. So like before we go on a listing appointment, we send them over a high note that has all of this. So I'm hoping that they read it. By the time I get there, they already know what I'm about. And they're like, oh yeah, right? So the difference with this, with the high note, is you can track to see if they're
How many times they open it.
So you can see, did they open it or not? And that's why, you know, Daisy was saying she uses this for offers. This is a huge trick right here. Like we went over it, we had a high note guy talk about this, but you can submit an offer with this high note, and if they don't open up your high note, what does that tell you guys?
They're not messing with you.
So you need to hurry up and call and change your offer and like do something, because they're not even opening up your offer because they already know that it's not even competing. So same thing with the buyer, you already know, like if they looked at a lot of like video stuff, like for sellers, right? They looked at a lot of like video stuff and you know they like the different websites, and they click on that stuff. What do you think you're gonna hit on when you go to the presentation? You're gonna hit on the marketing because that's what they're interested in. Same thing with the buyer, like if they're interested in the contract, what do you think you're gonna hit on? You're gonna touch a lot on that contract. So it's a tool to like definitely, you guys all like login passwords there, or if you guys want.
You guys have all access to this, so you guys can definitely use it. But I wanted to share with you guys what you guys can actually do.
So this is, so a lot of you guys that have gone on shadow opportunities with me for listing, like this is what I bring for listing presentations, because it has a listing presentation in it, but it has so much other stuff. It's organized for me. So you guys have this as your buyer. This is your buyer presentation. Is this. Because just to hit on we have the consultation, the structure and the setup on how to go about that.
Do this one.
But
This is the story.
just like media day, of course we got lower things in our front door. But yeah, so the real thing about like a buyer presentation is, you know, when you have this high note, the thing is like, if it's a first-time home buyer, you're going to need to go through every single page that Daisy just showed. Like they don't know. You know it because you're doing it all the time. You're like, bro, I just did this 3 times today. How come you don't know it?
And that's the part where you got to know your audience, right? Again, I brought it down to 4. There might be another audience maybe I don't work with. Maybe you guys do work with, right? But know your audience. Know who are you presenting in front of, because that's going to be really important. Where you send just one thing, or maybe you don't send something, or you start with this. So you got to have steps. That's going to be a metric where that's going to define how successful you are with your buyers and what you send. Because if you send them the wrong stuff, well, we already don't even know about them.
Just brainstorming here, would you send, since we could do a pre-listing high note, would you do a pre-buyer?
Every time you get off the phone with somebody, you better be sending this over to them.
Like, let's just say I'm calling, I'm doing my 90-minute calls, and I get a buyer appointment. Guess what? I'm sending it right after. Be like, hey, pleasure talking to you over the phone. Just confirming we're gonna meet at this time at this place. Take a look at my link here, just some of the things that we're gonna go ahead and talk about.
Or just to know who I am.
Yeah.
That's what I tell somebody, like, or a buyer, right? Like, hey, here's a link just to show you who I am. Because
Yeah.
they don't even know who you are. Like, if it's a random lead, right? Like, so, like, this is a way to, like, let people know. I think it's smart. It's, like, what we're trying to do is that you have to, like, the presentation is a presentation, right? But at the beginning, and this is what I learned when I first started learning consultations, just like selling, just like listing presentation, like the presentation is not going to win anybody, right? You have to talk for like 10 to 15 minutes. Like, what do you do when you go on a listing appointment? You go, show me around. The reason why you do that is because now you're having the opportunity of talking to them for like 10 to 15 minutes. You're asking them questions, you're getting to know them, so then when you sit down at the table, now you know what to talk about based off of what they're saying. Because if, like, we heard it from this guy yesterday, he sells 5 million plus homes down in LA, and he just lost a buyer because, and this is somebody who's super veteran, he's like Ed Leminski, or I forgot his name, but he's top agent down
Beach
LA.
houses, Malibu.
Yeah, and like he lost a client because he thought that this client wanted to learn about this, so he hit on that so much, and he lost it because that's not what that client was interested in. So that's why it's like, when you have a sit down, you have a consultation, hey, let's sit down, let's have a, let's meet, at a coffee shop or a Zoom or here or another office. It's that 10 to 15 minutes of just chopping it up, talking homes. So what are you guys looking for? Why? Where do you guys work? What areas are you going? What's more interesting to you? What are you looking for in a realtor? Like all of these different questions that you want to ask, and then that's when you're going to go into, now, hey, I have a consultation for you guys, a presentation to show you the whole breakdown. Is that okay if I go through that? And then now you click on that. So like that's, they're going to hire you because they like you and trust you. These are just the tools to like kind of back up and show them instead of all the stuff that you're telling them. And I think that's the missing, because like sometimes you'll go to a buyer presentation and just jump right in. Hey, I got a consultation here, look at this TV. Right? And now you sound like a robot. Like you have to be their friend. Like build that rapport, and the best way to do that is somebody wants to buy a home. They don't care about you at all. They want to buy a home, and like it's so important to just start talking about homes. They want to come in because they want to go look at this house on Zillow, but you got them to meet at coffee. They don't want to fucking meet at coffee. They don't care about that shit. Like they want to go look at this house. So start talking about the house. Like, hey man, it's awesome that we're gonna go look at this house. Start asking questions about the home. What about the area? And then it leads into like, where do you work? What are you guys living in now? Like, where's your family at? Like, why do you want to move all the way out to that city? Like the more questions that you ask, the more you're gonna get to know them, and the more they're talking. It's really about just getting them to like
Open up.
And like one the leadership thing that we heard yesterday, and which was huge, was if you don't start off with like almost like a story, like to be able to get them to connect with you, right? Like you're gonna be talking about all the stuff, they're not gonna be listening. But if you like could relate to them, like I forgot who I was talking to, but like if somebody, they were talking politics. They were talking to politics, and I was like, look, if I go to an appointment and somebody is pro-Trump, like I went to this listing appointment one time, and they were so.
Don't record that part.
Like they hated
This is off stream.
They hated whatever, it was years ago, right? And I was like, politics and real estate, like we don't mix, right? You don't do that, it's neutral. But when you're in front of a client, and you're fuck yeah. Let's go, yeah. I hate that guy. So you gotta build that connection. You gotta find out who they are.
I would just say no comment. I would stay with that.
Okay, here's more G there. If they like dogs and you hate dogs,
That's cute. Keep it away.
even if you hate them. Oh, I love dogs. Yeah, that's building rapport. Like get to know.
Hannah has a cat. I'm not a big cat person. Every time she puts a cat, I was like, oh. I mean, you're polite, but keep your cat away.
Right, like that's what I'm trying to get at. So it's build that rapport, build that connection at the beginning is how you're gonna win at the end.
Any questions in regarding to this whole presentation? Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, so I have kind of like a two-part question. I'm new to the team and
Welcome. Does everybody know her?
my name is Ashley. It's great to meet all of you guys. I didn't meet in the meeting, so my first question, just tying into like the changes coming, it sounds like for sure, as far as July goes, you definitely are going to need to have the buyer agreement signed before showing homes, pretty much, right?
Yes.
So my experience before in the past, if I've like connected with a lead from something like Zillow Flex, these are people that are like, they've seen houses that they know they want to go and take a look at.
Yeah.
Sometimes they want to do shortcut of just getting in the door, and then you find out they probably already have somebody they're working with, or they're not actually even looking to buy house.
Yeah.
How could you, how should you introduce the buyer consultation if you connect with the lead in that way that already knows there's a property that they want to see, they know the address and everything like that? But we know we have to have that consultation and get that buyer agreement signed before even putting any time into showing them any properties that could turn out to be like a waste of time. Or just
Yeah. So that, in my opinion, and I'm going to ask all of you guys, what would you guys do? But what I would do is, hey, if it's a Zillow call, I'm going to meet with them there. I'm going to show that property. And then I'm going to try to get to know them as much as possible as I can there. But I am going to go ahead and say, hey, you know, this house is not the only one. There's other homes that we may have, right? And get them to sit down with me for at least 15 minutes so I can do my buyer presentation, so I can get to know them, know the reason. Why are they looking at this specific house? What's the reason? And let them know there was a change, you know. I think the first couple of buyers, we're going to have to say, hey, let them know there was a change effective X, Y, and Z. Now to move forward, we're going to have to go ahead and do this and go through that buyer presentation, because you can't just say, hey, Mario, I'm going to show you this house. Can you please sign this? I charge 3%. He's going to be like, hell no. Right? He's like, what are you talking about? Right? So we, as a professionals, have to be informed and let them know what are the changes, what's going on. This might be a one-off situation, but here on forward, let's take some 15 minutes. Let me take you to some coffee, maybe to some Jamba Juice, whatever it is, Dream Bowls, and let me show you what my value is, and this is the reason why. Right? There is going to be some one-off situations. And again, we have to know who our audience is. Maybe it's an investor who's just like, I just want this house. What are you talking about? You know, I don't want to do none of this. We got to know who our audience is. That's what I do relate. So with that said, I want to bring it back. I know it's already 11:02. If you guys can stay for a little bit longer, I would appreciate it. If you guys have to go, I totally understand. But I want to mastermind with you guys the same way that we mastermind yesterday with all the top. So I want to know, and Hannah, this is where you're going to go ahead and switch. But thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. Let me know if you're able to connect, Hannah. So Hannah's going to take notes for us.
One thing too that I want to touch on, the buyer consultation thing, right? And like this is where it's going to come down to us being able to close. It's what we're going to offer at the end, right? It's offering like the guarantees of like, you know, buy or sell with us. We're going to sell your home for, you know, we'll pay for your moving costs, right? Like you buy a home, you're happy, you know, we'll sell your home for free. Like we're going to offer like free appraisals and make sure our lenders are, you know, like we're going to beef up our offer. And then at the end, you know, you're going to be like, look, this is everything that I offer and what I'm going to do and how I'm going to help you. This is what we ask for in return. We ask for this, and we ask for this, we ask for this, and we ask for, right? Like, it's the, you know, when you guys go write an offer, if you guys are going to go look at homes, you guys are going to let me know. And then if you write an offer, you're going to write an offer through me. This is how much I charge. We charge 3% commission, but like within that 3% commission, it's going to be, you know, we're going to get the sellers majority of the time to always pay for that, right? And there's some instances, and you can cross that bridge, we'll get there, but I just want to show you that, like, that's cool, you know, how much I charge. And, right, like, so we're going to offer these things, and now you're going to come to the close, and now it's like, look, how do you guys feel about working with me? How do you guys feel about working with me and my team? And this is where you guys can't be afraid. You guys should already be doing this. We've already been teaching this, and we have trainings on this. You guys have to ask. Zillow lead, I don't care what the lead comes from. Like, it could be your best friend. Like I've had friends that I didn't go through this entire process with them and assumed, oh, they're my good friend. I hang out with them all the time. They're gonna work with me. They fucking did it. I'm not gonna lie. We didn't hang out with them for a little while. Right? So, but like you can't assume. So like you have to go through the full process, right? The full process, and get to that point. And then you stay quiet. This is where the sales comes in. The sales comes in to where you ask that question: how do you guys feel about working with me and my team? Whoever talks first wins or loses. Whoever talks first loses.
Give them that space. Give them, it's going to be an awkward maybe couple of moments, and they're going to reply. Because if you, just the way that Bill said, if you say, because you already lost, because now you have to convince them again. And you just went through this whole presentation. So just, how do you feel about working with my team and I?
And like that's it. That's the game. That like, you got all the ammunition. You got all the tools. Like, it's just what that 10, 15 minutes, building that rapport, have a conversation, get cool with them, quick conversation, you know, the consultation itself, and then 2-3 minutes of building up the value. How do you guys feel about working with me? Getting that yes, get the handshake. You guys sign it. So this is trips that I've gotten hundreds of buyer loyalty agreements signed. So this is not the first time this change is happening to force it, but now I've done it so many times. You sign it after they say, yeah, we feel good. Okay, awesome. And then you start talking about that. So, man, let's start shopping. Let's start looking. Oh, can you sign that? Right? Nonchalantly, like it's what everybody's doing. You guys make it like weird and awkward and like, oh, it's like you sign it first, like you always do, and then so tell me like, yeah, so fight me on it, Dana.
What is this all about right here?
Well, look, this is just an agreement. This is just something that, you know, basically it's gonna allow me to like, look, I spend a lot of my time with friends and, you know, like my family and stuff like that, and, you know, we have evenings and we have dinners and my kid got baseball practice and there's a lot of things that we got going in life, but you know who like my real number one is? It's my clients. And one thing that I do is like, I'm gonna make sure that if you wanna go look at a home, and if you want to write an offer, if you need information, I'm here for you. And that's the loyalty I'm going to give you. All I'm asking for in return is your loyalty back.
Did you guys pay attention to his tone?
You put us in front of your kid. So like, but you know, connect.
Not really, but yeah. He's gonna hug this dog.
And if I meet again, yeah.
What, could I just sign this like later, or is that cool?
Yeah, so look, I totally understand. This is a big choice, right? You know, who you choose is the best. You know, this is a big purchase. You want to make sure you're choosing the best person out there. Look, how about this? Give me a week. Give me 2 weeks. I'll write it down on the agreement right now. Give me a 2-week agreement. Here's the date. Change the date. Cross it out. Put the date. 2 weeks from today. Give me 2 weeks. Let me show off. Let me show you that I'm the best. And I'm gonna get you. I know you got friends. I know you got family. You got realtors. I just showed you what I can do. Let me prove to you. Give me 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
Awesome. So another thing that we're gonna add into our agreements is a cancellation guarantee. And so
You can start typing that.
yeah, with the cancellation guarantee,
Thank you.
basically it's if you are never happy, if you at any point of me working with you or whatever, and you decide you don't want to work with me, here's a cancellation guarantee. There's gonna be a piece of paper that we can give. Right? And like that cancellation guarantee basically will null and void. Like I would never, like I've done this for some listings. You do this for listings also. I never would want to force anybody to want to work with me if they don't want to work. Like if they don't want to work with me, like I don't want to work with them. Like that's weird. Like, it's like, no, you're gonna work with me, you signed an agreement. Like I would never fight for commission. Like if they went and signed with somebody else, another offer, even after signing this, do you think I'm gonna fight for that commission? No, I'm gonna go get 2 more clients and like not put my energy towards it, right? Like it might happen. I've had it happen before, where I've had a buyer come in and all they wanted to do was go look at this home, so they're like, yes, yes, yes. And then I go look and show them the house, and the next day, like I find out that they didn't even want to work with me, and they went with somebody else. So like it happens, but it's very, very rare. Here's the other thing: if they don't sign, you're finding out today that they're going to be loyal or not. If they don't sign, instead of you spending weeks and weeks and weeks of working with somebody and then come to find out that their sister's an agent and they're going to work with them no matter what. So you're finding that out today. So you just saved a lot of time if they do say no.
Bill, you said that the buyer's agreement is like 6 pages long, but we're going to condense it into one and include a cancellation word.
It's gonna be like certificates. So what I used to have back in the day, we didn't have iPads and stuff like that, right? Like, not that old. We didn't have iPads for presentations. We had binders.
Giving your age.
My book was so cheap. We had a black and white binder, And we had color binder. We would give the color binder to the clients and here, follow along. And we would like go like this. And like that was my buyer presentation, right? And I was like, here, flip the page. And like that's how you can tell if they're engaged or not, if they're flipping or if they're not.
Then you
like,
flip it for them.
Let me touch on that real quick too. But like you want to make sure like it's more so like we're gonna have like certificates that we're gonna hand them, like a guaranteed certificate, like buy or sell with me, like what I'm thinking is like get like really nice paper with a stamp kind of paper, you know what I mean? Like real deal certificates, like here's this, here's a cancellation certificate, here's this.
And then when they want to cancel, they present it to you.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, just send a picture of this and sign it, we're good, right? Like, so like it's making it look like really professional and it's like, you know, so and then they're walking away with stuff. So the way we have the listing presentation is we have, and we have in there, and I have plenty more, but we have the listing printed and we have a testimonial book of everybody, and it's very general. It's some of our names are on there for some of the agents, but most of it, you guys could all use it. You bring it to, you know, we're gonna need that now for our buyer presentations. You leave them with that, the certificates, all this other cool fancy stuff. So yeah, we're gonna have like a printed.
So with the agreement then, the 6 pages versus the 1 page that we're gonna have or condense it to, that's, I mean, obviously we're gonna make that legit, but I guess my thinking is, well, why would a buyer contest that? Well, this one's 6 pages, what about your 1? Are we just
We
gonna
make it
extract?
a lot
certain
easier. We're not
Yeah.
difficult like these other people out there.
Okay.
We're easy to work with. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Can't buyers sign like 3 or 4? What happens then?
That goes, so that's an unloyal person that like, they're gonna do that. Like, again, it's very rare.
I don't know if the second one would be valid. That would be more going back to like attorneys to see, because you would be able to contest, and I think the date, that would be just my thought. But we would have to go back to Leo, ask him that question. And that would be going back to, because I'm sure there should be some type of clause in there where it's going to be, that should be in our 1 page, that, hey, you're signing this with us, but, you know, that is a question.
Because it's exclusive.
Yeah, it's exclusive, yeah.
My understanding is that it's an agreement, not
Yeah.
a contract, so it's not legally binding.
It's gonna be a contract now. It's gonna be a contract that, you know.
Because that's how you're going to get paid
That's how, yeah, exactly.
as a buyer.
So
Yeah.
an agreement versus contract. Let me give you guys the worst case scenario. Somebody breaks that, and they go write an offer with somebody else and don't use you, and you have that loyalty. You send that agreement over to that agent. This is what happens.
You wouldn't send it to the agent. It would be more to legal.
To the broker. We
Yeah,
send it
yeah,
over to
yeah.
the broker and be like, hey, they had a buyer loyalty agreement. Blah. What if they're fighting? What if they say no?
But how would you know your contract?
Huh?
How would you know it's your buyer that's in contract?
You don't know your buyers?
Follow up. Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna make they can tell you.
No, but you're following up. Hey, I'm calling you. I already bought a house. What do you mean? What do you happen? What house did you buy?
So what I'm saying, public record is out there, guys. What I'm saying though is like if they fight and they fight and they fight, it's not worth your energy. It could take months. You have to go through arbitration. You have to get lawyers
Mediation.
involved. You have to, dude. I'm telling you guys right now. Like, yes, it sucks, but it's not worth your time. It's worth your time. Like that's not like we talked about this, talking about our, you know, leveraging the admins and how much are you worth? Is it worth like how much are you getting paid? What you get paid, right? Some of us are getting paid hundreds of dollars an hour. It's calling lawyers and arbitration. Like you're costing yourself a lot of money.
And I think that will happen. And I think kind of like what Leo said yesterday, EXP is so on top of their stuff, guys. From what I learned yesterday, it's amazing how on top of their stuff they are. We are sticking our head out to take a look at what's actually happening elsewhere as well, to be like, oh, they tried that and that blew up. We're not going to do that. Oh, they're doing that. That really went. Let's take a look at a little bit more, right? So I do feel that exactly what you guys said, it's going to happen. Worst case scenario, but we're all going to learn for it, and they'll probably change up the script a little bit in terms of the agreement, the contract. So things are going to happen. We're going to see little different things, but I would say go with the positive mind. Hey, that's why what we're going to do right now, the value on our buyer's presentation is going to be so important to bring that up, all of the value, so that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Really what I'm coming down to, you guys, is, about the fighting for commission. This could go for a lot of things, right? Like, especially your buyers. Like, I think you just had a situation where there are people who are disagreeing off deposits and stuff like that. Like, dude, your life and your energy, your stress is more important than money sometimes. And like you trying to fight for whatever this commission is over here, like, dude, like life is like, go get some other clients. Like, focus on the people that won't do that to you. You know what I mean? Rather than, no, but that was mine. We signed an agreement. That's my commission. I'm gonna fight. Like, screw that. Like that. There's life out there that you don't want to get into that. So, just want to touch on that. That's the worst case that could does happen, and you guys get so caught up in it that it just drains you. When like, don't let that drain you guys. Like,
Yeah, I was wondering how the concessions played in, because it's kind of a safety net. I mean, just wondering, like, if you have 3% on the buyer side, but then, yeah, they can just disappear, but if you come to an agreement with concessions included, even about the additional on top of 3% you're mentioning, do you think that would play in maybe later down the road to kind of a safety net somehow? I guess it kind of depends. Right?
everything's negotiable still.
Yeah.
Like, just because somebody offers 2.5% today, I could go in there tomorrow and say, hey, my buyer really wants this house. I'm not going to charge you anything. This is my friend. So I'm not going to charge your buyer or your sellers any commission. So like, that's already happening today. I've done that. A lot of, some of you guys have done it. Like, we've lowered our commission to get a deal to work. It's the same thing. So like, just because the seller's offering X amount of dollars, you're not obligated to, like, it's negotiable. If sellers and buyers always ask us, oh, what if I could do this? What if I could, hey, yeah, we could do it all. Like, everything's negotiable. Everything's negotiable. Nothing's off the table. You want a car in the garage? Let me see. Right, like, there's things, so, I'll do that. But, go ahead.
Okay, so back to this. Great questions, all. I want you guys, and this has to be interactive, right? So what do you think our value is when we do the buyers, like we're gonna redo or revamp ours as the Davis team? What do you think should be on there, right? So we have as a value. So basically we'll sell your house, right? Within 18 months. We also have, and how many of you guys have done it, where I'm not sure if you've done it, Chelsea. I know Bill has, where you pay, if they buy and sell with you, you pay for the moving truck. Has anyone done it?
Yeah, I did that.
Okay, do we want to keep that there?
Yeah.
Okay, Chelsea, which one do you think?
Is this for a leasing agreement or is it?
Buyer's consultation.
$20,000, better give 15, move.
I think one of the, like, a good value add too is like knowing your statistics on how many times you get your buyer's first offer accepted.
That's a good one.
Like, this is how I do it, this is what I do, I get them accepted first try.
And we can use the teams, right? So, hey, I'm with the Davis team, I'm part of the Davis team, and we normally get our first offer accepted 99% of the time, right?
I used to have a guarantee like that, and it doesn't work. Like, so I use the guarantee where I'll get your first offer accepted in the first 60 days or 45 days. I guarantee I'll get your first offer, and then you have like, the terms, right? Like, if you can't offer more than, you make it protected, right? We'll protect that. I like that though.
Mm-hmm.
So like, first offer guarantee.
But yeah, I think showing kind of.
Offer guaranteed in the first 45 days or first 30 days.
Did we get that?
The part of the rules for something like that would be like, you guys have to look at minimum 10 homes. You guys have to be able to, qualify. You guys have to be able to compete.
And this is just brainstorming. It doesn't mean that it's going to end in the final one, because what if someone doesn't want to offer that or whatever? But I just want to throw everything out there, and I want to have, how many people do we have? That's at least how many, I want to have at least one per person, because we all think.
Kind of what Chelsea said, but when I look at who I want to work with, I think about my rapport with them and their expertise. And with regards to our expertise, what statistics that she mentioned, like how often do we get our offers
Accepted.
accepted? What is like the key metrics that we hit in comparison to other teams? Or
So would it be negotiating, right? But
how much we get back?
yeah, so it could be negotiating credit back. It could be negotiating. I seen someone got an offer accepted, 25,000 below.
25 and concessions.
Okay, so 25,000. So negotiating concessions, that can be one. Negotiating price, that can be another one. But come on, guys, it's not just me.
Another one, home warranty guarantee.
I was just about to say.
Home warranty.
Home warranty and whether the seller pays or maybe.
That's another
he doesn't have to
certificate
pay.
that we could give them. And we're like, I'm over here thinking like, we create certificates with like a foil stamp. That's imprinted. You know what I mean? That like home warranty guarantee, not happy guarantee. Like, don't, like, they walk away with these certificates. Like,
And offer a free roof inspection.
Okay.
Or inspections. Yeah, with the, buyer's workshops, I've been doing where Chris and I will he'll take care of the appraisal, I'll take care of either home warranty or, usually home warranty, but if I can get it negotiated by the seller, then maybe do like an inspection or something. So it's like X amount of value, 1,500, something like that.
Okay. What else? That's all the value we have, guys?
so let's rephrase it a little bit to like get your minds open. Like, how can we beef up what we got today? Like,
How can we make it look better? How can we make it look
what
interesting?
can we add to that buyer consultation to stand out from anybody that's
So let's just say like a VIP buyer's consultation.
Our stats, did we say that already?
Yeah.
I like that, yeah.
I think
We have that in there?
the community where, how involved we are and what we're establishing, like if they're moving to a new area, we're like, hey, we throw events every quarter, come out, this is what we've done previously, it just showcases, and they'll feel like they're already connected or have a seed planted without even having to make that move yet. Or just
Like that.
paint that picture, lifestyle.
Okay. So community.
The EXP exclusive app that you're talking about.
Yeah. Make sure you guys get
I
that.
got an idea. Like, what about like local connections, like services, like offering them help to get like garbage, electricity, water, utilities, Comcast. Like,
I got you, man.
yeah, working with it, like,
Yeah, that's
Also, even just with the exclusive, but then just our team and Team Fast and, Clean and all in our network of like all the coming soons and stuff like that. It's just like direct people, other agents that we work with, having, off-market opportunities.
I like that.
Yeah, I'd say leveraging your board. Like for my clients, I just got $5,000 first time home buyer grant through the board that I'm with. So that's free money.
Leverage it.
programs, loan programs, city programs.
What else?
Just to hit on too, though, it's like, look, you guys are gonna bore the hell out of your clients if you guys do buyer consultations and start hitting on every single piece. This is where you have to read the person, right? Like if they're
Know your
somebody
client.
that has bought before, like you're not gonna hit through the steps on how to buy, right? Hey, I see you guys have done this before. I don't have to hit on a lot of these different things. I can go through it fast, or here's a couple things that I think that you'll like skip to what you feel like. Ask them, what do you think is the most important? Like, don't just assume and just present to them everything, or else you're gonna bore the hell out of them, and they're not listening when you finally get to the juice.
Because this buyer consultation is going to be what defines you from, hey, all this value, right? All this VIP stuff, and then they're going to sign right at the end, or they're going to go with someone else because it just really didn't impress them, right? So we want to have things here that are going to be impressing to them, right? So I think one of the ones that we had yesterday is obviously know who your audience is, right? Because like Bill said, we're not going to go over all this stuff with everybody. They might not need it, right? But maybe one that they had yesterday also was define the problem, right? So if you know your audience, you know your person, you're going to be able to define that problem with all this value that you have. Hey, so we might be experts in the area of whatever, X, Y, and Z, right? Hercules, Pinole, whatever the scenario is, San Francisco. But just know that we have that here. And that's what I'm trying to pull from you guys where, hey, what else do you guys see of value that we can show them, right? They have defined the value. of the situation. Well, what is the situation, right? If we don't know what that situation is, we don't know that problem, we're not going to be able to do it. Because
that's that first meeting. You can't be like, hey, what's your problem?
no,
It's within that first 10, 15 minutes.
you get to know them.
That's your goal, is to find out what their problem is. Based off their problem, these are all the different solutions that you could tailor it to. So that's what's huge. Like, you have to find out what somebody's problem is.
I was wondering what you guys thought about, basically selling yourself versus selling because we already have value by being part of the team, right? So I just see that 75% of everything is just going to be, basically selling ourselves, or not selling ourselves, but just communicating the value, like you said, from our story. And then the other part is if we clearly communicate the value, but just being part of the team, I feel that's, in my opinion,
So being part of the team, you said that's a really good point. But what does that mean?
like leveraging why we joined. We don't have to get into those details.
Yeah. So leverage, right? So we have a lot of leverage in our team because we have this team that we're, about 60, 70 people right now. So that's a good point, right? So leverage, have access to that team, right?
It's systems, it's transaction coordinators, it's title companies, home inspectors. That's a team.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's,
And I think also because we are a team, sometimes, if we're individually out of town, a lot of times I'll say,
showing agents.
like I might not be able to be available, but I have a team that you will always be able to get in and see a home.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll relay back to me and I'll be very present for the whole process.
No matter what city you're at.
Yeah, I'm out of town or something's coming up, I have kids, but that's huge because then they're like, okay, like they just want to see the house. So
Mhm.
it's like, so they don't have to go on the Zillow and get somebody new or whatever.
Typically, like when I describe the team too, I'm using language that we're one of the top producing and the largest teams in the Bay Area. We have over 60 agents in our team alone, and then we're connected to over 350 agents that we're on Slack with and we're communicating with, and we're part of a big broker. So when you work with me, you not only get me working for you full time, you get our team, and you're never left in the dark. And so I think letting them know whatever another agent can provide to you, me and my team can provide you even more. And then providing an exhaustive list of all the things that we can provide them, because then that gives them peace of mind that it's in writing that you're going to say we provide these things for them.
Mm-hmm. I like that. So yesterday we also talked about menu of services, right? Bill mentioned title companies, our lenders, right? A lady yesterday offered, one of her stuff that she offers is they refinance, her lender will refinance their buyer up to 5 times, I think they said.
Up to 5 years.
Oh.
Their lender was offering. So it's good to know what lenders are offering so we can show them. But their lender was offering them, if the interest rates drop after you close up to 5 years, we'll keep refinancing you.
For free.
For free. And
So that's a value.
I think all lenders would probably do something like that. It just,
We have to ask.
But that was a good offer though.
Yeah, so, I want you guys to think something like that, like outside of the box, so what we can do for them, right? We want to be their go-to, right? And I think another one, I'm not sure if we have it there, but it can be, we have access, right, to, if you need home repair, if you need to build the fence, you need to build, so we have access to all these contractors at really good price, right? We can be your go-to person.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, because when I walk through a house with people, they're always pointing out what's wrong with it, or what needs to get fixed. Maybe if we have contractors we can just get a quick estimate from by sending them a picture, we can get people hey, this is gonna, we can get you an estimate of the things that are concerning to you, how much it's gonna cost to fix.
Yeah.
Just,
And it does work, right? Being accessible or having access to all these people. I currently have a buyer where she's just like, oh, this roof is going to cost about $20,000. And I'm like, where are you getting that? The sewer ladder is going to cost about 10. And I said, let me get you some quotes later today. Access some of our people, it's half the price. But that's a good thing to know.
What are you guys are meeting with buyers. you guys are,
What do you guys hear?
like, what do you guys think that, like, what's unique? Like we want to come up with like unique seller proposition kind of stuff, unique buyer proposition, like that we can offer to our buyers to make sure that we can include something like that into our presentation. It's having, the goal is like having a toolbox, like contractors come with a big toolbox to go do a job, doesn't mean they need to use all the tools, right? They might only use one wrench out of it to fix the problem, right? But it's like the more tools they have, they're prepared for whatever is happening. That's the way that we want to come to a buyer consultation. We want to have a really good toolbox that we can roll in. And now we can use the right tools to help them fix that problem that they need.
What do you guys think?
This is not gonna answer your direct. With regards to vendor contacts, just being on Slack, I'm seeing a lot of people asking, hey, we have this person, this person, this person. We also have our own vendor like link on Google, but I'm just curious, is
Definitely
that
outdated,
being?
like you asking for people to update it. So
Okay, okay. No.
some of them are still working, but I was like, we need to update this thing. That's from like 2 years ago.
Is that something our team wants to share together? Is that something?
Yes. Share anyone that you are working with that they're doing a really good job. Sometimes they give better prices, or sometimes they just know how to do this stuff better, or they're more available. Share with everybody. We all want to know that.
Can we have the VAs put together, like a team vendor list with like plumbing, electrical?
So we have it, we need the contacts that you trust.
So start putting it in.
So yeah, so like this is where
Maybe we can make like a separate channel on Slack and just be like vendors.
We have it, we just need, so I think what we could do is have them start, I'll instruct them, right? Like we went over this last week, like admins are good, I mean, they're good as what you tell them to do. So we need to like instruct them like, hey, when we're asking for vendors and like we're getting numbers in, like we need to update our list.
Yeah.
So
Because
I
it
like
keeps
that.
getting repeated.
Yep.
And like lost, because it's not old.
Yeah.
Yep. What else? Is that all we have? Jeremy? No more value?
I don't know. The only thing I got, you guys, is like availability. I don't know. A lot of us have some of you guys have second jobs, right?
Some of you guys, I don't, but some of you guys, danger.
Not a specific tool.
Yeah.
It's a benefit for me. Somebody went, like, if they call me, right, I drop everything and I'm gonna be running. Like, we're gonna look at houses if they're pre-approved, whatever the case is. I think that's a big thing for people. Texting us at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, maybe even later, right? There's just that itself brings a lot of value to what we do in our team, and it helps them understand, like, you know, how we present ourselves. So availability is like huge for my buyers in particular.
Yeah. What about our knowledge? I think we have a really good wealth of knowledge with all of us here and our experience. I think we should definitely put that.
Yeah, I think knowledge with the lender aspect also for us as agents always helps us. You know, a lot of you guys have done a lot of transactions, right? You guys have worked with lenders, you understand what's going on a daily basis. A lot of the numbers you might know for certain price ranges, right? So, yeah, just that knowledge also, I agree with you.
Something that comes to my mind, and this is where I would win any agent or client out there, especially if they're already working with somebody, it's how I write an offer. How I write an offer versus what you guys have been writing offers. And so I think like breaking that down doesn't mean like probably first time home buyer, like you're not gonna say everything, but I think like when we put in that offer writing
Skill.
like a list, like look, this consultation is to help you remember to say things. Like that's what these like I got to the point to where I've done hundreds of them to where I didn't need a slide anymore. It became me and you just conversating because I knew exactly, like this is to help protect you, not forget to say something that would have gotten you working. If that makes sense, right? So like the more you guys do this, the more it's conversational, the more you guys can just customize it the way you guys want. But like this is like, it's a cheat sheet. Like back in the day when I had the binders, I had sticky notes when I first started. The sticky notes were on my black and white copy. It wasn't on theirs. The sticky notes had notes for me to help me remember to talk about a story about something about the loans, a story about offer writing, a story, right? Or like little things that I wanted to add so I'm not robotic. So I think the offer writing is huge, especially now, rates are gonna decrease, like, competition's gonna get even tougher. We're getting into the spring and summer, there's gonna be multiple offers. This is gonna be the biggest thing. When I talk to people, it's like, look, you wanna know what the number one thing that we hear buyers talk about and like where they struggle at? It's getting offers accepted. Like, that's one of the toughest things to do in this industry. You wanna know what we do versus what others do and why I could offer you an offer accepted guarantee? Is because these are the strategies that we do. This is the break. So the thing is, like, if they hear you say things that are different than what other people are telling them, who's gonna sound better? Right? Like, that's where it's like, the more you tell them, like the construction loans, nobody is ever gonna talk about the 203K. We'll never write an offer because it probably will never get accepted. But it's because they heard about it from you, you already sound different and look better because you offered them something that they haven't heard from. So like, that's how you win competition. It's saying more than the other person. And you have more knowledge, you have more experience, so I think that's where, but yeah, offer writing, like that's huge. Like, this is what we do to write offers.
How about also share that we have multiple locations of offices? We don't have to just meet in one.
I think a big value add that for me is just like my lender calls. I work with Chris often, so we have it down. But we jump on Zooms like throughout the whole process, and then especially, I always say in the initial, like, it's a lot of information, but like once we get closer to, or once we like establish a home, because we can't say, yeah, we're gonna get you credit for sure. We don't know the competition, we don't know the price point, we don't know anything like that, but like our goal is to make sure that we obviously keep you in your monthly budget, and then if we're able to get credits and stuff, but once we establish a home, we'll do a Zoom before we write the offer and like go over everything in depth and have like multiple scenarios. So it's all about moving numbers around, and the goal is to get their number to work for them, and then let us do our part. So like educating them on like the different options is huge, and it's huge. So
Yeah.
It's kind of like what we're talking about, the offer writing. Like these pages, add your notes to those pages to remind you to say that, like what Chelsea just said. Right?
Can you repeat it?
Like that right there, like what she just said, like you want to remember, what's going to help you remember to say something like that? And like that's where it's like we can't have little sticky notes on our little screens, right? But so like it's practice, it's training, it's memorizing this stuff, like it's the repetition of like go, like especially if you guys are brand new, go meet with somebody that doesn't have a job that wants to buy a home. Like that is good practice, right? Like go meet with somebody that does have bad credit. Go meet, like it's repetition. Like you want to practice with people. Like we can practice all day with each other. It's different. That's why I like to just get you guys out there and that you work on that experience with real people. But like if you guys get somebody that's savvy and they want to go buy $1 million plus over in Lafayette, like you can't practice on them.
Right.
Like they're gonna know, right? Like so, like that practice with, everybody and anybody right now. Oh yeah, you don't have a job? Okay, hey, don't worry. When you get one, you're gonna learn what you're gonna need to do. Let's meet, right? Like go meet, you guys. Like I'm just telling you guys, like it's. You feel like you're wasting your time because this person's not ready to go. Like you're not. Like you're gaining so much experience because it's a real person. And what if that person that says, man, like how many opportunities come in and they all say, oh, I don't want to spend more than $2,000 a month.
And it's like, where are they buying?
I don't want to spend more than $2,500 a month. Buyers are liars. They don't know. So like that education process of it, like that person that first came in that wanted to stay under $2,000 a month and live in Hayward. Okay, yeah, you want to live in Hayward for under $2,000, right? Awesome. That sounds amazing. Let's try to see what we can do. Let me show you your options. You go meet with them. Now you go over all the buyer consultation. You educate them on everything. And that person's, I can't buy something for $2,000. That person.
My friend lied to me.
Goes up to $5,000, $6,000. Now their budget increased. So you can't judge a book by its cover. Right? Like at the car dealerships, like people would always judge people that walked onto the lot and not go up to certain people because of the way people dressed or the way their car came into the parking lot. They would, like, we used to have to call colors out to be able to get, you know, like the car would come in and like there was a gate at this one lit lot. And there was a gate, the instant, like we would watch the car come in. And you have to stay on this platform in the middle of the dealership, right? And like, whoever calls the color of the car first gets that client. And so sometimes, there'd be this bucket driving up the street about to turn in, nobody would say anything. Those are the only ones I could get. I'd be like, red! Right? And then sometimes those are people, and then they'd be like, damn, that was a real person. Like, they actually bought from that dude.
You would want to sell to those people because they need a car.
It's the same thing, right? So it's the same thing with these opportunities that are coming. We don't know who's who until, yeah, it's huge.
What about for Zillow, if we're doing like the one showing without the signed agreement, referring it to as like, hey, now with the changes, we're required to have an agreement signed, but we do a courtesy showing, and I'm happy to show it to you, and then if you have some time, 15 minutes after, I'd like to discuss a few things with you.
So I just had this talk with Grace this morning. She's like, what about Zillow? What about the Zillow leads? Like, because they're clicking a button, they want to go look at a home.
I think something's going to change with
We're
Zillow.
going, like, terms, things are changing. Those are the assumptions that I don't want to go too far down because we don't know exactly. But this goes, we just had Precious wrote something down in the objection handling, and then you commented on something like, hey, what do we do when somebody, you know, says that, you know, they have an agent? Or maybe it wasn't that objection, that was a good one. Yeah. But there was another objection where maybe you had one that we talked about. But anyways, if somebody
had it.
If somebody says like, hey, I just want to go take a look at this home, like what we want to do is say, hey, I got this all set up, we're going to go meet at this property, we can do this, and like you go through the whole flow, right? Now you book the appointment. After you book the appointment, after you go through, hey, do you guys have 5, 10, 15 minutes to where, like, I don't know if this is going to work for you guys, but this is something that I've done for a lot of my clients, and they've really found a lot of value at this. Like, I got the location set up, we're going to go look at all these homes and blah, blah. But what I found that's been really helpful lately is, like, can I buy you guys coffee at, like, a coffee shop right next to where this house is? Just so I could, like, learn more in depth. Like, I found it better than versus just going to go take a look at a home right away. Like, I want to learn more in depth. Like, I could bring my laptop with me. I could, like, even pull up more homes based off of what you guys are telling me. I could show you guys kind of the process. Has anybody ever showed you the process of what to expect and, like, the closing cost, like, all that? Like, I would love to just learn more in depth of what you guys are looking to do. Can we meet, you know, and have coffee for 10, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, and I'll buy you guys what's your favorite cup of coffee. And, like, get that appointment and go meet, like, you got the appointment, they're gonna, like Zillow or whatever, like, they're gonna go look at a home. Ask them after you book the appointment, hey, not sure if this works for you guys, but this has been working really well for my clients, and they've gotten a lot of value out of it, is if I could just buy you guys a cup of coffee right before we go to go look at all these homes, or this home. During that appointment, like, what we'll be able to do is just kind of like, I'll be able to sit down with you guys face to face, learn more in depth of exactly what you guys are looking for. I'll bring my laptop to pull up to see if there's any coming soons or off markets that you might be able to see as well that you don't see on Zillow. You know, I'll be able to kind of show you guys what the entire process. I'll show you guys like what I could do and how it's going to look like writing an offer with me versus anybody else. Can we meet at this coffee shop that's close to these homes for 5, 10 minutes? Hey, who's going to say no to that? You'll get people to say no. But it's not like if you can have that good value that you're offering right now. Like there's been so many times where I booked a consultation or I booked an appointment with a lead, an opportunity, and they want to go take a look at these homes. And like I got them to meet at a coffee shop before we go look at these homes. And during that, like that 5, 10 minutes ended up being like a 30, 45-minute meeting before we could actually go take a look at the homes. And we ended up actually not even going to go look at homes because they realized they're not even there yet. They're not even ready to go look at homes. But I got them to sign up with me, and now they're going to be loyal, and now I'm going to get them started in the right process. Buyers, and you know, they think that I just need to go take a look at a home. I just need to write it off. I'm going to get into it. No, like there's a process. It's pretty rude. There's insurance here. So does that help? Or like,
So wait, is it gonna be like some type of like violation for us or whatever after we go to the house without having a buyer?
I don't
those are the
think
assumptions.
so.
We're not gonna go down that road. Like we had, I'm telling you guys, I was in a room with these team leaders in Nashville and they were just going off the hook. I was like, you guys are tripping. You guys, like, I was like, can we stop talking about NAR now? Because now you guys are going down roads that we don't even know. Right? They're just assuming. Like, they're like, oh, we're gonna start training on all these things.
I think that's another thing that we talked about yesterday was, what's the reality, right? There's always going to be, so there's a sentence, right? Or what we see, we make it our reality of that person, of what's going to happen, or whatever the scenario may be. But we have to, again, know a little bit more of the story so we can know the true reality. There's always going to be 2, 3, 4 realities. Because the way that I look at something, the way that Bill looks at something, Mario, Daniel, we all have different perspective. But if we all have the same story, then we're going to look at the same reality. So when we don't know that whole that we were talking about yesterday, everyone puts in their, like, oh shit, this is going to happen. Oh shit, this is going to happen. And they make it their reality there. It doesn't mean that it's the truth, but it's just the reality that you're living in at the moment. So just be careful with that, I would say. Don't go down the line or anything like that. And that's why we want to ask questions and we want to get together. Slack is very important. Reach out to one of us. Who here in this room feels scared about the changes that are coming up? By a raise of hands, and it's okay.
I'm excited. I think we're top. I think you guys have made us comfortable with the change. Right? I don't have questions that come with it, but I think, like you said, we're gonna have the contracts, we're gonna be provided information and the way to approach it when we're dealing with our buyers. It's gonna be like a listing, you guys. We're
Yeah.
gonna approach our buyers like a listing.
Yeah.
You guys should already be doing that.
I mean,
Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's the whole point of like this. It's like this. Who's scared are the ones that have been doing
that
something.
haven't been doing the buyer's consultation.
Those are the agents that are not gonna make it because they're gonna understand like, oh, I'm scared to ask a client for their loyalty. Like I'm just gonna go show a house and hope that they write an offer with me. I'm gonna hope that that offer gets accepted. I'm gonna hope that their client's gonna be happy after we close. You know what I mean? Like they're hoping and praying. Like, man, this is our life.
No.
Like, this is our goal. Like this is it. Like this is what we do. Like we're professionals, and that's where you want to start comparing. And you can start telling your clients, like, look, there's a lot of those out there. This is what we do. Like, that's where it's the difference. And that's I think that the buyer consultation is, but it's, the buyer consultation is like what I want you guys to leave with. The buyer consultation is not just the consultation slides itself. So like it comes down like it's 10, 15 minutes. It's like, what do you guys think? What do you guys ask this question? I ask this at listing appointments, right? Like, what are you guys looking for in a realtor? What are your expectations?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Like, ask that at the end. Like, I say add that as a slide at the end.
Yeah.
Or it could be almost at the beginning or somewhere. Like what are your expectations? Like, what do you guys want in a realtor?
So
I
that.
ask that question. A lot of you guys that join the team, I ask that question all day. What are you guys looking for? Like,
What do you guys think it should be at the end of it or in the beginning?
I think it should be at the beginning.
Emphasize. Yeah.
They're looking for this. So I mean, they kind of give you the answers to the test. Exactly.
Now we got you guys talking. Yeah.
Yeah, that's more like the beginning.
Yeah.
this is the cheat sheet. That's what this consultation slides are. It's a cheat sheet for you guys to hit on certain things. That's really what it comes down to. It's like,
yeah, I had one consultation where I did bring that up in the beginning, but I used a negative connotation where what were some of the pitfalls that, because I knew going in that this person was working with a realtor before, so I wanted to ask them up front, what were some of the pitfalls that they did so that I could avoid that?
Yeah. And how did it go?
Oh, that's the one that, well, they gave, again, he gave me the answer to the test, so I kind of just emphasized the things that they weren't looking for and what we did offer, and.
So it went well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long story short, we weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, Colleen, you're going through a scenario like that too as well, right? Where you met a seller, and you guys talked about what